for he has made me glad. Enter into his court with praise and into his gates with thanksgiving. This passage holds a huge secret. Even though it is open to us, many of us do not know that this is a secret to accessing God's presence. A pastor was ministering one day and he said he had the opportunity to be at the redemption camp and they were to pray with Daddy Gio. And they prepared their hearts before the prayer and told them how long the prayer will be. And I think it was around 5 hours. And he was wondering what are we going to be praying about for 5 hours? And when they got in, he realized that for over 70% of the prayer time, they spent in thanksgiving. That is a secret weapon that if we can harness and if we can maximize, we will easily access God's presence for mercy and for help in our time of need. We must approach God with thankfulness. We must approach God with a heart of gratitude and not just bringing concerns to him all the time. Thankfulness opens the door to deep communication and fellowship with God and invites us into his presence so that we can receive endless grace. So this morning I will be talking about oppositions to thanksgiving and things that enable us to give thanks. So first opposition here is comparison. Comparing two things. The Bible in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12 says, "But they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise." Meaning it is foolish to compare yourself with another person. God has created us as individuals, unique in our own ways, with a unique purpose and a unique path to fulfilling that purpose. So comparison steals away that which God has destined for you alone as a unique destiny for you. Many times we compare accomplishments, we compare the things that people have, marriages and home, but everybody is unique in their way. And comparison will never allow you to see what God has done for you. It makes you focus more on other people. Oh, God has done this for this person. What about me? What about the things that God has done for you and he has not done for others? So we need to look inward and stop comparing ourselves. There's an idiom that says the grass is greener. It's always greener on the other side. We always feel like, no, it's better for that person. But if you come close enough, you might realize that the person is even going through a worse situation than you are. The fact that people do not wear their problems on their faces, or you do not see their problems the way, maybe the person that dances most in church is the one going through the worst of situations. So you do not compare. You do not stand from where you are and think, oh, that person has it all good. In your own situation, what does the Bible say we should do? We should give thanks. Comparison creates unnecessary pressure. You put yourself under pressure to meet unrealistic goals. Everyone has a timeline, and our times are different. Comparison also fosters the feeling of jealousy and hatred towards somebody because of what God has done for that person. And then when you focus too much on others, what happens? You lose focus on your own goals because you are focusing on what God is doing in another person's life instead of focusing on yourself and doing the things that you need to do to get to where you want to be. Number 2 is pride. Another reason why it is difficult for people to give thanks, or something that opposes thanksgiving in lives. Pride. Pride impedes gratitude. And God says he resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And why is pride very dangerous? It shifts the focus from God to yourself. It shifts the focus from God's sovereignty and God's greatness to yourself. And one of the ways it happens is self-sufficiency, where you feel everything you have, it is by your strength. You've passed through school, you finished with a first class, it is because you read alone. Not acknowledging the hand of God in that which he has done for you. When you feel you are independent and you can do without God. Another form of pride is entitlement. And we do it to fellow human beings, where maybe you call for help and someone gives you what they can and you feel it's too little. You feel the person should have done more. That's a sense of entitlement. And we take it to God sometimes in that same manner. Another part of pride is lack of acknowledgement, where you do not acknowledge what God has done in your life. If we remember the parable of the fool, the rich fool, in Luke chapter 12, he had built and farmed and had his barn and everything was full. And he said, I will gather in all my grain and goods, and I will say to myself,